And now with the weather, here's our very own Pete Mertz. Pete?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Jack.
Camera one, Pete.
Right, 3, 2, 1. Perfect. Okay, so it's going to be a rainy night tonight, folks.
Camera one, Pete.
Looks like a... Great. I'm sorry, I don't understand. Why do we have to have so many cameras?
It doesn't matter what the weatherman says if you have a symmetrical, all-wheel drive Subaru.
Hey, it's Pete Mertz here with today's weather. It's the winter solstice, the shortest day of the year, so I'm going to keep it brief. Cold. Jack?
It doesn't matter what the weatherman says if you have a symmetrical, all-wheel drive Subaru.
And now with the weather, here's Pete.
Here it is. Back to you, Jack.
We need more details. Pete, back to you.
Well, I don't think it's pretty obvious, so back to you, Jack.
Could you tell us a little bit more there? Pete, back to you.
I mean...
It doesn't matter what the weatherman says if you have a symmetrical, all-wheel drive Subaru.
And here now with the weather, our very own Pete Mertz. Pete?
Thank you, Jack. Okay, so this is America. This one's not really that important. Let's go to the next one. A lot of numbers here, not really good with numbers. That's why I became a weatherman. Let's go to the last one. Okay, great, good. So this is the sun.
It doesn't matter what the weatherman says if you have a symmetrical, all-wheel drive Subaru.
Hey, this is your very own weatherman, Pete Mertz here. Now, we got a really big thunderstorm headed our way, so we're gonna track it in our state-of-the-art weather van, which I left idling for this very reason. You know what? I got a better idea. We're gonna take a weather taxi. State-of-the-art.
It doesn't matter what the weatherman says if you have a symmetrical, all-wheel drive Subaru.
So, folks, for tomorrow's weather, it's going to be unseasonably cold on both coasts, blazing hot in the center of the country, and on this island. Jack.
It doesn't matter what the weatherman says if you have a symmetrical, all-wheel drive Subaru.
And now the weather with Pete Mertz.
Thank you for that. And here's what's going to happen tomorrow. Well, it's going to start with me wearing a different shirt.
It doesn't matter what the weatherman says if you have a symmetrical, all-wheel drive Subaru.
Pete Mertz here, standing next to a brand new state-of-the-art weather van. I had a van back in college with these beautiful velvet captain's chairs, this really awesome VCR setup. You call this a custom paint job? I had an eagle swooping majestically over the Rockies. And speaking of the Rockies, there's going to be a cold front moving in from the west.
It doesn't matter what the weatherman says if you have a symmetrical, all-wheel drive Subaru.
And now it's time for the weather. Here's Pete Mertz.
Well, folks, it's going to be mostly sunny on the east. If we head out west, it's going to be partly cloudy. And that sounds very similar. Jack, mostly sunny, partly cloudy, is there a difference? Because it sounds very similar if you put them both together.
Pete, you're on your own. You are the meteorologist.
It's very nice you say that, Jack, but actually I know very little about meteors. But thank you, pal.
It doesn't matter what the weatherman says if you have a symmetrical, all-wheel drive Subaru.
Hey, this is your very own weatherman, Pete Mertz here. Now, about this time of year, a lot of folks start suffering from SAD, or seasonal affective disorder. Well, I think I have a cure. Let's make depressing weather sound undepressing. So now snow will be called pretty white sparkles, lightning, that's just loud sunshine, and thunder is nature's upset tummy. Now, let's take a look at tomorrow's forecast. We're looking at about 8 to 10 inches of pretty white sparkles, turning into splishy-splashy later in the day.
It doesn't matter what the weatherman says if you have a symmetrical, all-wheel drive Subaru.